It's the Moto Razr Plus for 2024. My kind of initial thoughts and review after 48 hours, and I've got quite a few of them. I'm going to flesh them out, hopefully, as the week goes on with several videos, including comparison videos to the Flip 6 and last year's Moto Razr Plus for 2023. Good device. That's why I'm going to land on it. Is it the earth-shattering update that I thought? No. Is it significantly better than last year's device? No, but that's not a bad thing because the 2023 version was already pretty good. I think some of the upgrades here, not overhyped, but you heard a lot about the hinge difference, a little bit more solid hinge, and it is, but I think it's less than what people are giving it credit for. I mean, it still feels a little bit like last year's hinge. Not a bad thing in the end, though. I mean, I remember putting out a video on the 2023 Razr Plus saying, you know what, this is a wait and see type of hinge, little loose to me, all that stuff, but it held up. There's something to be said for not having the tightest tolerances in the world because the littlest speck of dust or whatever doesn't completely gum up the work. So that's something that Moto has going in its favor. I wanted to go over one thing before we get into performance and all the rest of it, just kind of fit and finish wise. This is the hot pink, okay, in the Eco Leather, and this is last year's Viva Magenta. And to me, color differences aside, if you could just look at the texture, it's tough. This has a premium kind of leather feel to it. This a little less so. This literally feels like somebody took a Viva Magenta from last year and just left it in the sun for a year. And I had some like fading along here, along the edge. It's not a showstopper. It's just a little disappointing given how wonderful the Viva Magenta color was from last year. But you are getting some upgrades here. You are getting a performance boost. The Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, so not quite the power that you get with the Flip 6. 12 gigs of RAM this time. And then, of course, the 4-inch OLED display on the exterior display. And it is really, we're doing some lighting issues right now. I want to kind of focus in on that. It is a really, really good display. You could do a lot here. It's the first time through the lineup when you're opening up your apps, you're going to be asked a lot. There's a permission to use it on the outer display and all the rest of it. It's going to be a bit of a pain. But when you do that, the next time through, it is a really nice experience. And you could pull up kind of any app that you want here, and you're going to get a pretty decent experience of filling out that entire outer display. And just lighting up that entire cover is certainly something that is quite nice. And you can see it kind of in comparison to last year's device. It is quite the difference. It's only however much bigger. But when you're getting 4 inches there, that is better for typing, that is better for a whole range of things. Scrolling, you're not worried as much. There's a whole list of things that you're happy about on that particular upgrade. Otherwise, it's really nice. I mean, you're getting Hello UI, Android 14. The hinge is nice. You're getting improved cameras. You got 50 megapixel here. They jut out a little bit more this year, but that is a symptom of basically every Fold I've used now. The Fold 6, the Flip 6, and now this guy. You got a bit of a camera hump here, but people want better cameras on these things. You get 50 megapixels on the main shooter and the telephoto. Nice color-matched aluminum frame here again. That's what you like to see. Nice solid hinge, as we talked about. The display on the inside, I mean, I think personally, and you can see it is just, let me just see if we could turn that down a little bit. It's just blowing out everything here because it is a gorgeous, bright OLED panel, just like last year. 6.9-inch display. Yes, I understand you're limited by 1080p, but it is a gorgeous 1080p display. It's nice and wide. All your apps fit well. Performance is good. This is a very snappy 165 hertz display when you're talking about it. You could feel just how silky smooth that is going back and forth. But these colors, Samsung is kind of going towards the more natural colors, even on the Flip 6 and stuff like that from the time I've used it so far. So if you like that just kind of old school, vibrant, just give me those colors, saturate them up, you're really going to like the Razr Plus. Performance, like I said, good. 12 gigs of RAM, no issues there. I really haven't encountered anything. We've done some light gaming so far, especially on the cover. I love the cover gaming on this whole list of whole folder full of them for a Moto like that. But like I said, you're buying these for style. I personally still like the styling on the Razr Plus over the Flip 6. We're going to have that as well. It is something that is a personal preference. I do like the Flip 6 better this year. I think the Flip 6, believe it or not, despite not changing the outer display size, had more of a glow up than the Razr Plus. I understand the outer display here. I understand a couple other things, 12 gigs of RAM. under the hood, this got quite a bit of an upgrade, but the Flip 6 didn't really need a whole upgrade under the hood. So there's different things in play here for both of these devices. My bottom line is this. If you already own, we're going to do a full comparison video to these, but just if you're curious about pre-order, if you already own one of the Moto Razr Pluses from last year, you just got the software update, you have always on display, you have Android 14, you have Hello UI, no need to upgrade. I understand the 8 gigs of RAM. I understand the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 battery things there, some battery drain over here that it's still learning, so I'm not going to eat Moto's lunch for that yet. But 4,000 milliamp hour battery here is not lasting as long as I think 45 watt fast charging, which is nice. But I think you got something kind of dialed in and smooth over here. And if you have a Razr Plus and from last year and your hinge is still fine and you're confident in it and you haven't had any problems, go ahead and hold on to this because I don't think you're going to see a whole heck of a lot. You're not going to be that impressed by the update over here. This is still nice. I mean, gorgeous. I mean, that outer display is probably what's going to carry this device through as the better of the two devices between the Flip 6 and this. It is a game changer for sure. It is nice to be able to have a full typing experience. I love how fast it is. Kind of open up Instagram here. I love how fast it is to kind of move between the different versions here. If you have something that's kind of being blocked by the camera humps, you can kind of go ahead and hold the gesture bar there, and it goes back to a regular kind of orientation here where you can kind of work around the camera humps here. But it is an incredibly usable outer display, and that really is the takeaway here because inside the story is still the same. Performance was great last year. Hinge is a little bit more solid, like I said, but it's still not to the level of the Samsung hinge, so don't get it confused there. I saw a lot of people focus on that. The hinge this year. You're better off buying the cheaper version of this versus the last year's Plus because of the hinge redesign here or the hinge beefing up here for Moto. And I don't really necessarily put as much stock in that. It is nice that you're able to kind of do more with this or whatever than you really couldn't do last year because this last year's hinge kind of wanted to flop over on you, which just kind of feel like you were breaking it loose. But this is still a little looser than something like the Flip hinge. But either way, nice and solid. I don't think that's a negative at all. I just think it's not as much of an upgrade over last year's device as people are making it out to be. So that's the two conversations that we're going to have this week, right? There's this device versus the Flip 6. Then there's this device versus itself, essentially, with the Moto Razr Plus for last year. And if there is enough there to warrant an upgrade if you already own one of these. If you don't, this is a really intriguing conversation starter. It's everything you want from one of these. It is stylish. It is good performance. It is solid. It has good software on it. You're sacrificing the software, but you're also not paying $1,100 that you are on the Flip 6. You can pick one of these up there, but already on sale was odd. They weren't even out yet. They were on sale for $850 on Prime Day. So you can see a lot of aggressive sales on these throughout the year, and you get a beautiful display, excellent performance, decent battery life, all the rest of it down the line. Good speakers, good screen. There's lots of things to like here in the Moto Razr Plus, and they've got some pedigree now, right? They've lasted a year with this design. Nothing happened to my Moto Razr Plus in 2023. So if that's something that you want to see a bit more of a track record, Samsung has years and years of flips to fall back on. They changed the design of the Razr a couple times. You wanted to see a little bit more. Now you've seen it. So this is something that's not a big departure from last year, but then again, that's not a bad thing because last year's device was already pretty good. So while I wouldn't upgrade necessarily from last year's Plus, I would have a deep conversation and a long conversation about whether to pick this one up over a Flip 6 because I can tell you right now, with the changes to the Flip 6, which were quite nice, that's going to be one heck of a video, and there's going to be lots to talk about, so watch out for that one this week. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.